Yeah? All right, hello everybody. I'm Natasha Kirchek. I'm an anchor at I-24 News, and thank you for joining us this evening at Tel Aviv University's Honorary Degree Ceremony. This is the Honorary Degrees Conferment Ceremony of 2024. And tonight we're not only going to be interviewing the amazing, unique honorary doctorates here, but we're also going to be interviewing some of the movers and shakers who really help make sure that Tel Aviv University has a major impact on the world. Now, all this is being live streamed on Jerusalem Post's website and on social media, so if you don't catch us live, don't worry about it. You can catch us afterwards. You can rewatch all these interviews. I know you're going to want to hear your interview as well afterwards. And I'd like to welcome our first guest this evening, Professor Daniel Simberloff from the United States, I understand. Now, Daniel, you are an ecologist, but obviously you have a very rich background. There you go, pick up the mic there. I want you to kind of briefly tell us about your work in layman's terms. Break it down for those of us who are not professional ecologists.
Yeah, I work primarily about how species interact with one another and with their physical environment. And for many years I've been particularly interested in invasive species, that is, species that aren't native and arrive in a new place, and how they affect the existing community of species. Yeah.
Amazing. So you know, obviously everyone who's watching today wants to understand what it means for you to receive an honorary doctorate from Tel Aviv University. I mean, what does this degree mean to you?
It's incredibly gratifying, actually. I've been to Israel many times. I've been a visiting professor at Hebrew and at Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
And I particularly have interacted heavily with ecologists at Tel Aviv University, which has a strong ecology program, both in the museum, the Steinhardt Museum, and in the zoology department. So I've had many collaborations, and it's very exciting and gratifying, really.
Absolutely. Is there something specifically about the ecology program that stands out to you here at Tel Aviv University or specifically in Israel?
Yes. There are a good number of people who study aspects of biodiversity.
Right.
And how many species there are, where they are, et cetera, et cetera. And Tel Aviv University seems to have made that the focus of much of its ecological research. And of course, the Steinhardt Museum is the national collection that manifests the biodiversity patterns of Israel.
Well, obviously, you know, studying the environment is more important than ever before, especially
That's for sure.
amid, you know, impending climate change.
Yep.
And you know, I guess my question for you is, what message would you want to send to the younger generation of students who are just starting their degrees here at Tel Aviv University?
It's an interesting question, but I hope they're cognizant of the many ways in which environmental changes, including but not only climate change, affect the many species that are really the biological patrimony of the country.
Right.
And it's a particularly challenging issue in Israel. It's not a very large nation with a large and growing population. And so to be able to manage to coexist with the very many species that live here is challenging, and many people at TAU and other universities are working on this, and I hope a lot of the students at least recognize the issue, and that some of them go into careers in this area.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you're an inspiration. Professor Daniel Simberloff from the United States joining us. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and I know that we have a lot more to learn from you, so make sure to watch out for the professor's work. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. שומעים טוב?
איך שאני אחזיק ככה?
Try to keep the mic a little bit closer to your mouth, just like
שאני
this.
אתקרב אלייך.
No, you're perfect. You could even bring it a little bit closer just because it's loud here. All right, everybody. We have our next guest with us. This is Professor Lushin A. Bebchek from the United States. He is a professor of law, economics, and finance, and the director of the program on corporate governance, both at Harvard Law School as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Delighted to be here.
Well, we're so excited to hear about your work. First of all, break it down for us in layman's terms, easy
Sure.
terms for those of us who are not economists.
Sure, corporate governance, it's about how companies should be best organized, from small companies to large companies like Microsoft or Facebook or any of those companies. There are many people involved, controlling shareholders, CEOs, employees, executives. How do you manage their relationship? How do you allocate rights among them? How do you make sure that no one is treated unfairly? So
Right.
those are the questions that corporate governance wrestles with. And we use economics, law, finance to try to figure it out.
It's really fascinating, especially in today's world where so much of our lives are dominated by social media as well. And I guess the mix between work and private life also kind of
Yeah.
gets a little bit complicated, to say the least.
And some of the, the social media, the major social media platforms are run by companies that are young, like Facebook or Twitter and so forth and so on, or Google, but they've reached massive size.
And they don't know how to deal with all those employees.
And they kind of face people with difficult challenges and difficult questions.
All right, so you're the guy to go to when you want to learn all about this. What does it mean for you to receive an honorary degree from Tel Aviv University? I mean, this is a big deal.
It is very exciting and heartwarming for me, not just because it's generally a great honor, but because Tel Aviv University has a special place in my heart and in my life. I was a student here many years ago,
Wow.
and I got a lot from the university, and those were very formative years for me. And I went to Harvard many years ago and stayed to teach there, but I have several students on the Tel Aviv faculty, and I'm very proud of them. So Tel Aviv University is very meaningful for me, and being recognized by it for my work is very, very important for me.
Well, I can also only imagine Israel is known as the startup nation. In a lot of senses, you have major exits, companies here that start out, from a very small place and become huge competitors in the international market. So I'm sure that a lot of the students here are probably going to one day own companies that you will be investigating and doing research about.
Yes. Thus far, most Israeli companies, they've been remarkable, they've been immensely successful, but most of them are actually sold several years after they are formed, which is very valuable to Israel, but they have not reached those scales that present those kind of problems. But hopefully Israel will have before too long such companies. Checkpoint is already one of them, and hopefully there will be many others.
All right, so my final question for you is what message you would want to give to the younger generation of students who, are going to begin their careers here at Tel Aviv University and are interested in law, they're interested in economics, they're interested in finance, and basically kind of want to know where they should prepare themselves for next?
Yeah, I'm more of an academic and a researcher, so my main message is mainly for people who will continue their academic work in this field. And I think that it's very important for them to recognize as they go on their work that this is a social science that has important normative and societal implications.
Absolutely.
And that for them to be beneficial and useful, their work needs to reach not only their academic peers, but also get outside academia and reach and persuade the people who are out in the field.
Amazing. Well, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, and delighted to be here.
Yes,
Thanks a lot.
Professor Lushin Bebchek. He studied here at Tel Aviv University, and today he's one of our honorary doctorates. Thank you again for
Great.
joining us.
תודה רבה.
תודה רבה.
Hello, how How are you?
Good. What's your name?
Andrea Goldsmith.
Okay, I have
Yes.
you right here in front of me.
Excellent. Okay. You
Okay.
speak very good English.
I do. I'm American.
Ah,
as
okay.
well.
All right.
Okay, so the one thing I'm just going to ask you is to try to. I
Okay,
know
sure.
I've been
So go
doing a
back
bad
and
job
forth.
of this myself.
So this camera or that
This camera, that's
This
our camera.
Okay. All right.
But you're going to be looking at me the whole time. We just want your body facing so we can see more of your beautiful
I
face.
see. Okay. So I look at you. I don't look at the camera
No,
at all.
you
Okay.
look at
Just
me.
at you.
And also, that's your mic right here. Try to keep it close to your mouth because it's a bit loud in here.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to introduce you, Professor Andrea Goldsmith from the United States, our next guest here, another honorary doctorate from Tel Aviv University. We're so excited to have you. Andrea is an electrical engineer. She's the Dean of Engineering and Applied Science and the Arthur LeGrand Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, both at Princeton University and the former Harris Professor at Stanford University. So you have a lot of experience.
I do.
A lot to share with us. Could you briefly tell us about your work, but in layman's terms?
Of course.
For those of us who are not necessarily electrical engineers.
Sure. Actually, it's easy to talk about it in layman's terms because my research is all about wireless communication, which everybody knows about.
Oh,
How do
yes.
we get data and video over our phones and in our Wi-Fi in our home to show video, whether it's cat videos or sports or news. So my research was about how do we make those wireless signals reliable and fast so that we never get disconnected from our devices, which may or may not be a good thing or a bad thing. And the innovation was really to adjust the speed of transmission of the signal to what the channel is doing. So if there's interference or you're driving through a tunnel, how do you still get data? It was to adapt to the channel. So that was my research.
Wow, so I think a lot of people, not only here in Israel, not only here at Tel Aviv University, but around the world depend on your research. Absolutely fascinating. What does it mean for you to receive an honorary degree from Tel Aviv University specifically?
It means so much to me in many, many dimensions. First of all, I have many colleagues in Israel, including at Tel Aviv University, so to be honored by my friends and colleagues that I've worked with and who I respect so much is very, very meaningful to me. I also have family in Israel. My husband's grandfather's cousin was Ben Gurion, so I have a very strong connection through marriage to the country of Israel, to the founding of Israel, to the state of Israel. My own father was a Holocaust survivor who lost his whole family in Germany. So being in Israel means a lot to me, especially at this very difficult time. And to be honored by the university and to be able to come and celebrate all the wonderful things about education in Israel, about research in Israel, remembering what makes this country special, what's made it so strong and resilient throughout its history, makes this honorary degree particularly meaningful to me.
Wow. Professor, what message would you want to send to the younger generation of students who are about to start studying here at Tel Aviv University and want to figure out what direction to take in their work?
What I tell all young people, especially students that are just starting their academic journey, is to follow their dreams and their passions. You can't imagine what the road ahead is going to be like. Your career, what you end up working on takes many twists and turns. I never expected to be a dean or a professor or an engineer. I just followed what excited me, what I was passionate about, and that served me very well. And so I think for young people, if there's something you really love, do it, and your career journey will take care of itself.
I think I very much agree with that. I think that's a great piece of advice. Professor Andrea Goldsmith, thank you so much for joining us. Really fascinating to hear about your work as well. Glad to know we all depend on it.
Thank you so much.
And again, congratulations.
Thank you. I really
for joining
appreciate
us.
it. Thank you. Okay, that was easy.
to your mouth as possible because it's loud here.
Are you taping it? Is that what you?
Oh, yes.
And then you'll edit it.
All right.
Is it for print?
This is on, we're actually live. For those of you who are watching, we're live right now on Jerusalem Post social media. And you're going to be able to see this afterwards because it's all
Wonderful.
recorded, so we'll be posting it.
Wonderful.
You'll be able to rewatch your
Wonderful.
interview. And so
Wonderful.
everybody who's watching right now, if you happen to miss us live.
Yeah.
Okay. I am with the incredible Dr. Anita Friedman. She's a community leader, a speaker, a philanthropist, an activist, an author, and a writer on social policy and programming, immigration, and Holocaust education. So, I could ask you 1,000,001 questions right now, but the first thing that I want to ask you is to kind of briefly break down your work in layman's terms for those of us who don't really have a background in what you do.
Good. My work overall has been to strengthen the Jewish community. I've been involved in many Jewish community organizations at the local level, the national level. I work a lot in Washington, D.C. on the U.S.-Israel relationship, and I work in Israel.
Wow.
So my work overall has been to figure out what's the best way to strengthen the U.S.-Israel relationship and to strengthen the Jewish community.
Amazing. All right, so obviously, we're not going to get into the current climate right now, but I can only imagine receiving an honorary degree right now from Tel Aviv University probably has an extra special meaning this year to you. Tell us, what it means to you to receive this degree.
I looked at lots of different organizations to get involved in Israel, and I haven't been involved in other organizations, but I feel that Tel Aviv University really represents the best of Israel. It's the flagship institution, in my view, for Israel, because it represents everything that we feel strongly about in terms of innovation, improving the world, serving children, helping to raise them up to be successful, building a decent society. So I've been very, very moved to be involved and certainly moved to get this honor.
So of course, the final question that I have for you is a message that you would send to the younger generation of students who are getting ready to start their degrees, not only here at Tel Aviv University, but around the world, and really just kind of want to know what they need to know as they move forward in their education.
I have two children who worked in the United States, but came to school here in Israel. And what I saw is that for young people, this is greenhouse conditions. For learning, for socializing, for developing your values, for finding purpose in your life. It's just an extraordinary place. And so any young person who really wants to find their way in the world will find their way here at Tel Aviv University.
Amazing. Well, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Anita Friedman.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Really fascinating to hear about the work that you do. Congratulations
Thank you so
on
much.
this incredible honorary degree. And I'm sure that we'll be seeing you again soon back here at Tel Aviv
Thank
University.
You so much.
There we go.
How do I know if they hear me or not?
All right, so I'm going to introduce you, if I may. Can I do
Okay.
that? All right, so joining us right now, my friends, is Yehuda Naftali. Get this out of the way.
It's a flower.
It's okay, they can see you, don't worry.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Joining us now is Yehuda Naftali. You have a very, very interesting background, Yehuda. You were born in Iraq. You made Aliyah as a child with your family, and you started your life in Kibbutz Hatzol, where your first job was a shepherd, from what I understand. But eventually, after a variety of different jobs, you ended up opening a very, very well-known enterprise here for Israelis, everybody, and that is big shopping centers, also in the United States as well, from what I understand. And, you know, obviously you have such a major career behind you that everybody who's watching wants you to kind of briefly break down what it is that you do and how you got to where you got. I know that's hard to answer quickly, but we want to hear a little bit about your background.
It's a little bit hard question to answer. How I got there. I kind of discovered my calling. And once I did it, I learned a lot who I'm serving. And then I started doing it the best I can do. You know, so all the centers that we are building is amazingly done to serve the people. To serve the people who are coming there. That was really important. And more than that, actually, the biggest achievement is the amazing people, that they are the one who's doing it. I don't know how to describe. They are here with me, most of them, the management. But sometimes it's like, I like to say it's like a basketball team that keep doing amazing job and passing the ball from one to other and putting the basket. It's just unbelievable. It's so exciting, and we keep doing it. And
well, you know, I think that what's so amazing about being such a successful business entrepreneur is that you've created livelihoods for so many different people from all different backgrounds. And so there are a lot of people who can probably thank you today for the hard work that you've done. So my next question for you is what it means to receive an honorary degree from Tel Aviv University specifically.
It's really exciting. It's a big honor for me. And again, it's more than for me, it's for my family, but wider family, which is the people of big, okay? That they're the one that allow me to be able to do it, to donate. And secondly, is I don't know how to even thank this university for giving me this opportunity to rebuild the Botanic Garden. Wow, it's like so close to my heart. And this garden can serve humanity so beautiful. I don't know, I'm keep walking exciting every time I'm going by.
Well, I understand that you do a lot of philanthropy today. And so I think that, you know, for a lot of the people who are watching, especially the younger generation, the students who are beginning their careers here at Tel Aviv University, they want to know, what message would you like to send to them? What is your advice?
I was going to say, find yourself, but I learned, no, lose yourself. Find your song, find your road, find the thing that will get you excited on your journey on planet Earth. It's very important. Try to sing the right song, the right tune.
Right. It's interesting. I'm hearing that a lot from a lot of our honorary degrees today, our honorary doctorates, who are all saying you need to follow what it is that you love, and ultimately your career will unfold in front of you.
Not necessarily, but along the way you may have to change the road, which is okay too.
Yeah.
All right?
That's another piece of good advice. Thank you, Yehuda, so much for joining us. Really a pleasure to hear from you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Right, everybody. So our next very special guest and honorary doctorate is Dan Yakir. He has been a human rights lawyer for over 40 years, and he gives equal respect and attention to groups and individuals from across the spectrum of ethnicity, religion, political leanings, and civil status. You have a very, very diverse career behind you. And I think for those who are watching right now, they want to hear you tell us a little bit about your work in layman's terms. Break it down for those of us who don't necessarily have a background in law and human rights.
The Association for Civil Rights in Israel was founded more than 50 years ago. I served at the legal council of the association for 34 years. And even before that, as a student at the Faculty of Law here in Tel Aviv University, I started my activism with ACRI, the Association for Civil Rights in Israel. It's the only organization of its kind that deals with the whole spectrum of human rights, civil rights and civil liberties in Israel and in the occupied territories. We do legal work. We petition the High Court of Justice against policies and grievances by the government. We deal a lot with legislation in the Knesset, legislation promoting human rights and opposing legislation to infringe on basic human rights. We have an educational department and then a public outreach department. To raise awareness to and the discourse over human rights.
What does it mean for you to receive an honorary degree from Tel Aviv University? This is a big deal.
It is, and it's very exciting. I was very moved when the president of the university, Professor Ariel Porat, called me a few months ago, especially that I'm an alum of the law faculty here in Tel Aviv University. Wow. I feel here I started my upbringing as a lawyer, and so it's especially exciting to be back and to get such an honor.
I can only imagine. Well, obviously there's a lot of young people who are watching this interview right now, and a whole new generation of students who plan on studying law, are interested in pursuing law that focuses on human rights. What is your advice to those students, and what is a message that you would send to the younger generation, especially in today's very complicated world?
Studying law and dealing with law is very important. Not everybody has to promote social causes, but it's very important that there will be lawyers who devote their career to the public law to defend basic human rights, and I hope and I see that the young generation is at ACRI and at other organizations very passionate, very creative, and there is a new generation to follow our steps.
Amazing. Well, we'd like to congratulate you on your honorary degree. Thank you so much for speaking with us. And of course, congratulations on the very important work that you've been doing for the past 4 decades.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Joining us now is Amnon Dick. Introduce yourself to us. Tell us what it is that you do and what your connection is to the university.
Yeah, I'm the president of the Israeli Friends Association here, and of course, supporter of Tel Aviv University for many years. I studied here many years ago, BA in economics, MBA, and so forth. And a few years ago, I made an MA of philosophy.
Your third degree here at Tel Aviv
This
University.
is, of course, nothing. I'm a businessman generally, and I really support the university because this is the secular, the dynamic, and the number one university in the country.
Well, you know, it's interesting because not everybody chooses to pursue 3 different degrees. And for some, learning later on in life isn't necessarily something that they're interested in doing. Why do you think it's so important to continue your educational journey throughout your life and not just as a student who's 18 or 23 years old?
First of all, curiosity is a major thing for a human being. And studying, learning, exploring, that's purely curiosity. And that you can find here in Tel Aviv University in so many parts. The variety of what you can study here in university, whatever age. You know, when we got the degree of the MA in humanities, there were, I think, 250 people. 20% of them were more than 50.
Wow.
Because this is why most of them did it not for business, not for income, not for job.
Out of genuine interest.
And for the heart.
Right. Well, I mean, I think, you know, that's such an important message to also send to the younger generation of students who are going to be coming to Tel Aviv University, that learning is a lifelong experience. And here at Tel Aviv University, this is a very unique institution in many respects. Why do you think Tel Aviv University stands out so much as a university in the state of Israel and in the world?
Yeah, I mean, it's liberal. It's stationed in Tel Aviv, which is the most liberal town and vicinity. And the head of the university, Professor Ariel Porat, which is really a limelight of liberalism, secular, and I think this is the right place. This is, I think, the Israel we would like to have.
Well, I mean, this is coming from the man who studied 3 different degrees here, so we believe you. You know this place in and out. Thank you so much for joining us, Amnon.
Thank you.
Next guest is Daphna Meitar Nachman. thank you so much for joining us. First of all, tell us a little bit about your background and your connection to this university.
Well, I'm an alum of the university. I studied law here and also political science and political communications. And most importantly, I met my husband here at the law faculty.
Most importantly.
But as a philanthropic family, we supported the law faculty for many years. And then they approached me and offered me to chair the global campaign of the university, which ended last year very successfully after we raised $1 billion in 10 years. And I continued 2.5 years ago. I was nominated as the chairwoman of the board of governors of the university. And in my role, I try to connect the university with the potential donors, with all kinds of collaborations in Israel and abroad.
Wow. Okay, so you have a wealth of experience working and studying at this university. Why do you think Tel Aviv University stands out as an educational institution, not only in the state of Israel, but around the world?
So by the charts, we are the only one which is not American and is number 3 in the when it comes to our alumni and their success doing business and what you call an exit, earnings. We are number 1, but obviously higher education is not about the money,
right.
Not at all. It's the best way to go up in the society, even if you have not the best background. And Tel Aviv University has it's an education first and foremost, but also a social role for the Israeli society. It's the largest university in Israel. We have we receive ERC grants for research every year. We are excel in receiving grants. So the standards are not local, they are international,
right.
And we are very proud of it. But still, we are still in Israel, which is a remote, a small country in the Middle East, and the competition is quite fierce, but I'm very happy to be connected to this institution. I'm very proud that many of its leadership are women. There's something very close to my heart.
Yeah.
And so it's worthwhile my energy to
Absolutely.
invest.
All right, so quick final question. What message would you want to send to the younger generation of people who are considering studying here at Tel Aviv University?
So first of all, I tell them come, don't be afraid. We have even high school students who come and try and get to know that it's not a frightening place. We now under a few transformations in treating students and potential students, how we treat them from day one. We need to understand that the university of 60 years ago, it's not what the crowd or the public is looking for,
right.
And we have to be up to date. We are transforming our ways of teaching, learning, and of course putting AI wherever we can and so forth. So I really recommend coming over and try for yourself.
All right, well, you convinced us all. Thank you so much for joining us. And, congratulations to all the doctorates here. Congratulations to you as well for being a part of this ceremony and for the work that you've been doing.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, our next guest is Professor François Elbron. He's the president of French Friends of Tel Aviv University. I want you to give us a little bit of background about what it is that you do and why you're sitting with us right now.
First of all, I'm French, as you said. I'm a professor at Sciences Po in Paris. I'm also a businessman, and I've been engaged with Tel Aviv University for more than 25 years. I've been the president of the French Friends for 20 years. And for me, it's very important because as I'm a professor in a French university, it's very important to develop links between French university and the best Israeli university, which is Tel Aviv University. And for the last 20 years, I've been promoting Tel Aviv University in France among donors. For the donors, I want them to give money for students to help them, but also to give to research, because there are amazing fields in all fields. We have been giving money for the movie department, but also to nanotech, to biomedicine, to health sciences, but to French department also, French culture. So it's very important to do that, but also to develop partnership. We've developed partnership with La Sorbonne, with Sciences Po, with the Collège de France, and it's very important for Israel, and that's one of the things that has been attacked lately by BDS movement in Europe, in the States.
Right.
They want to cut these links because Israeli universities are the top ambassador of Israel excellence around the world. And all our enemies, the Muslim Brotherhoods, the leftist movement in Europe, they want to cut that because they want to cut the legitimacy of Israel. So we have to fight that. I'm here to fight that. I'm here tonight with 25 friends who came from France, especially. And also what we did last October, because like a lot of people in France, not only Jews, but a lot of people in France, were very moved by what happened.
Right.
And we wanted to support the 7,000 students from Tel Aviv University who went to fight into Gaza, into Lebanon. And we created an emergency fund, and we collected money to help the students when they come back from combat duty, what they are doing now, to get tuitions to pay their studies, but to get also psychological support, educational support. And we are very pleased to do that because they are risking their lives. 70 students of Tel Aviv University had died during combat. And we want to help them because they are really heroes.
So my next question for you is, I guess what message you would want to send to the younger generation about this university, and also about, the students that have been raised in this university and have now pursued very, very diverse careers that have had an impact on the world. I'm assuming, as a professor in France, there's probably a lot to be learned from those who are studying here as well.
Yes. For instance, where I teach at Sciences Po, before October 7, we had 32 students from France, from Sciences Po, studying in Israeli universities. 10 were at Tel Aviv University. And we had at Sciences Po 75 Israeli students.
Wow.
And these exchanges are very, very important because French students will meet Israeli students will meet another culture, another way of learning.
Right.
And also, all the professors that have had Israeli students, they were amazed by their maturity level, which makes sense because they went for military service and now for war. And also because it's tough to study in Israel. And the level of excellency is very demanding. So they are the best ambassador of Israel. And the professors that are coming to give classes, the same. And I want that to expand. And at these days, we are fighting that because some universities want to retract.
Yeah.
And we'll fight that really strongly.
Amazing. Well, Professor François Elbron, thank you so much for joining us. Really, really interesting to hear what you had to say about the university. I learned a lot, and I'm sure that all of our viewers are going to want to rewatch this interview if you weren't able to catch it live. Thank you so
Natasha.
much.
Erev tov.
Okay, hi everybody. We have an amazing guest with us right now, Kathy Fields, joining us from the United States, from San Francisco. You are a dermatologist. You have multiple skincare businesses, a very, very interesting career behind you. I'm interested to hear about your connection to Tel Aviv University and for you to give us some background about the work that you do.
Great. Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and we never hesitated. We booked this far in advance, and we knew we were coming no matter what. We were greeted on Sunday by a barrage of welcome from Hamas. A little delay there, but we made it in just fine, and we're delighted. So we've been involved with Tel Aviv University now for about 10 years.
Wow.
And it's a funny story, because my husband's a dentist, and 10 years ago, they were changing the dental school, and he was asked to do a small fundraiser in San Francisco. And when he was there, he had to gather dentists together for the fundraiser. Well, when you're doing a fundraiser with dentists, it's like pulling teeth. It's so bad, but we hooked ourselves. We became the big donors. We then met Yossi Klafter, President Emeritus, and went from there.
Amazing. Why is it so important to you to continue donating to Tel Aviv University? What do you think the importance is of this university for the world?
What a great question. First of all, as Jews, the number one most important thing we do is educate. That is why we're still here 3,500 plus years later. And then why Tel Aviv University? Because we really got involved with the campus. We got involved with the professors. We got involved with the projects. And the need is great. And we understand that the government doesn't fill all the needs. And we know that our path into the future as the Jewish people is through education, and it starts right here. And we saw so much of that today during this big meeting for the board.
So any message that you would want to send to the younger generation of students who are considering studying here at Tel Aviv University?
Oh, you must come to Tel Aviv. This is where the action is. And it's just dazzling with excitement and energy and collaboration and interdisciplinary works. So from every standpoint, the stimulation is here, and you're missing out. You know, we're in the California side where things are quite dysfunctional right now. So if you want to be where things are moving forward at a rapid pace, Tel Aviv University.
All right, you sold me. I have to say you sold me, Kathy. Kathy Fields, thank you so much for joining us and for the work you're doing to support Tel Aviv University.
Thank you, pleasure.
All right, everybody, that is it for tonight from the incredible Tel Aviv University Awards Honorary Doctorate ceremony. We had an incredible guest list here of professors who received honorary doctorates and also donors who have done so much to contribute to this university, which continues to make an impact on the world every single day. We hope that if you didn't have the chance to live stream these interviews, you'll watch them again later. This will be posted on Jerusalem Post's live stream on its websites, also on Tel Aviv University, so you will have the chance to go back and rewatch everything. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Natasha Kirchhoff, an anchor at I-24 News. It's been a pleasure, and have a great night.